What's up, y'all? 4.2 about writing equations in point-slope form. So we had been working on slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, okay, where it gave you the slope and it gave you the y-intercept. Now we are working on point-slope form, and point-slope form is this equation right here, okay? And really, how I'm going to do it is y minus blank equals blank times x minus blank. And what you're filling in here is y1, like you can see right here, m, which is still the slope, just like it was before, and x1. And where do I get x1 and y1? Well, that's just a point, like this point, or this point that the line goes through, okay? The y and the x are fixed, just like in this equation, how you always got to have a y and an x, you got to have a y and x in these too. And for a lot of these, you're going to be able to write one of two answers, okay? So the first thing here is it says write an equation. Hang on a second, I'm grabbing something here. Alright, it says write an equation in point-slope form of the line that passes through the point 8,3. So this again is our point, so that's our x and our y, and the slope of this, which is our m. And again, because this is the first point that I have, and really the only point obviously in this problem, I'm going to call that x1, y1. And so when I go to fill in these blanks, right, I'm going to put y1 here. Well, y1 we've already identified as 3. I'm going to put the slope, which is 1/4, right there, because that's where the slope goes. And I'm going to put x right here, because that's where the x goes. And hopefully you can remember that a minus and a minus next to each other, a negative times a negative is a positive, so I'm just going to change that to a plus. And ladies and gentlemen, it is that easy. It really is that easy. Don't make it harder than what it is. Okay? I'm going to try one more. Again, this is x and y. We'll call that x1, y1. This is my slope. So y minus blank, or the y1, which is 6, equals the slope times x minus x1, which in this case is 1. And that's it. It is that easy. Maybe press pause a second and just try these two equations here on your own. Again, it's giving you a slope. Right? It didn't say slope, but it says m equals. Well, again, m is that number that goes in that blank right there. Okay, it's our slope. And it's giving you a point. Go ahead and press pause, try it, come back and check. So again, y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. That's it. Y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1. And that's it. It is that easy. Now, y minus 0, you might be saying, well, anything minus 0 is just itself. Y minus 0 is just y. So yes, you could write this, and we're going to see this happen on some other problems too. But this is okay, but this is not something you have to do. You can just leave it like that. That's in point-slope form. Okay? All right, let's try page 2. Okay. So when I look at a graph, okay, well, actually, that's not a problem. We have a point. Here's x and y. We'll call that x1, y1. Now, could I use this? Sure. X and y, I'll call it x2, y2. Okay? So, I know my point. I'm just going to use 1, 2. And I got to find my slope. How do you find a slope when it's a picture like this? Well, use those 2 points and count your rise over run. From here to here, I got to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And over 1, 2 boxes. So my slope is 4 over 2, except it's going downhill, right? I went down 4. So that's a negative. And that, of course, reduces 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And there's what I need, x1, y1, and my m. Y minus, again, maybe I should rewrite this equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So 2 equals negative 2 times x minus 1. And that's it. That's good enough. Now, let's say you won't pick that point instead. Nothing wrong with that. If I picked 3, negative 2, and I chose that as my x1, y1, I would have y plus 2, because a minus a negative 2, equals negative 2 times x minus 3. And that's it. You could have either this or that. I don't need both. One point or the other. Okay? So same thing here. I've got 2 points. And again, if I use the point 4, 6 and call that x1, y1, I got to find my slope here. My slope from here to here is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1, 2, 3. Okay, 6 over 3, because again, it's the rise over the run, is 2. Okay, so y minus y1 equals the slope 2 times x minus x1. And that's it. That's the answer. Or, again, if I use the other point, negative 2, negative 6, this is x1, y1, and I'd have y minus y1 equals the slope times x minus x1, and the only thing, again, if I see two negatives, negative times a negative is positive. Done. Okay, either this or that. I don't need both. Okay, so pick a point and make it your x1, y1. Okay, but then it says, wait, I gotta find the slope for these, right? You remember how to do that? Right, we've done this before. Okay, where the slope, the formula for slope, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's go label this as xy, xy. And this is my first point, and this is my second point. So this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So I got to find my slope first, which is, again, y. So I'm going to put this with minus signs. y2 is 10, y1 is 4, x2 is 3, x1 is 1, and 6 over 2 gives me 3. I've got my x1 and y1 right there, so I'm going to write it. Y minus 4 equals the slope times x minus x1. And that's it. It's good enough. Or, if this is the point I want to use, I would go y minus, y2 in this case, equals the slope times x minus x2. Either of those would be correct. Okay? I am, again, not asking you to do both. Just give me one answer. Done. Okay? But you can use either point. So maybe pause it a second. Try this one. Find the slope first, and then use one of those 2 points. Press pause. Come back to see me. Running out of a little room there, so let's go. Negative 4 minus negative 1, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1 is that, and this becomes a big plus sign, this becomes a big plus sign, and I get negative 3 over 12. Now, I don't need you to do that in your head. Go in the calculator and go negative 4 minus negative 1. It'll tell you it's negative 3. 8 minus negative 4, it'll tell you it's 12. And this actually reduces to negative 1 over 4, because I can divide that by 3 and I can divide that by 3. If you would have left it like this for this repeat class, I would have been okay with that, because now I have my slope, and I can just, y minus y1, which is negative 1, equals the slope, negative 1/4, times x minus x1. And again, minus a negative, there's my answer. Or y minus the other y value, the slope doesn't change, x minus the other x value, and anytime I see minus a negative, do it. Either answer is good, okay? Now, the last page is pretty much the same stuff, guys, okay? It's just giving it to you in function notation. And function notation, this is x and this is y, right? Because we know f of x equals y. That's what function notation, they mean the same thing. So, this is x and this is y. And again, if that's my first and my second point, I've got x1, y1, I've got x2, y2, and this is just like the other problems. I need to go, the slope equals y2, maybe I should write that up here too, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2 is 4 minus y1, which is negative 2. x2 is 8 minus x1, which is 4. And I get 6, because that's a big plus sign, over 4, which reduces to 3/2, because I can divide them both by 2, right? Okay, so y minus, start filling in my blanks here, y1, which is negative 2, the slope, which is 3/2, right? I should probably write that up here too, right? So there's my y1, there's my slope, my x1, again, is 4, and I just minus a negative right there. Done. Or again, y minus y2, the slope, times x minus x2. Either of those answers would be good to go. Okay? A couple more here. I'll try this one. I'll have you guys try the last one. Again, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. I plug them into my slope formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is going to give me 1 over negative 2. And now I'll just plug stuff in. So I've got negative 1/2 here. I've got my y1 goes here. I've got my x1 goes here. And zip zap. Done. Or y minus 0 equals negative 1/2 times x minus 6 for my x value. Either of those answers again would be correct. Okay. Maybe press pause a second. Maybe try just this last one. Make sure you identify your x and y's. Find your slope. Plug it all in. Okay. Again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 is 2 over 4, which is 1/2, because I can again divide those both by 2. Y minus 3 equals 1/2 times x minus 2, or y minus 5 equals 1/2 times x minus 6. And again, I don't care which one you pick. Okay? Alright, that's it. It's that easy. Okay? So on 4.2a, let's see here, we're going to see that I gave you a few problems like that right here, where you're just plugging in your slope, your x1, and your y1. Maybe I'll show you this on the homework. This is again my m, my x1, and my y1, and I go plug those into those spots. Simple as that. Okay? It's showing you this because it's saying like basically fill in those blanks. Okay? That's all you have to do on 1 through 3. What we did here. Okay? If I turn the page again to these graph ones, well, you'll see that down here. Right? And guys, this is a little bit of a struggle because they're not giving you points, but look where it crosses. Don't pick that as a point. That's not in a cross. Don't pick that as a point. Don't pick that as a point. I got 2 points right there. That is negative 1, 3. This is negative 2, negative 1. Right? I'll even give you a couple more. Here is negative 3, 0. That's not a point. That's not a point. This right there is negative 4. Let's see, 3. Okay? And on this one, well, it's a straight line across, okay? Try your best on number 9. I'm not going to hold you to the fire, but again, I've got this point is 0, negative 4, and this point is negative 3, negative 4. Look what they have in common. That might help on this one, okay? All right, so this is the homework. Let's see, we've got this one more example, this function notation stuff that we just got done with, and that's what I'm asking you to do here, okay? And then the stuff that we did just on the page before with this down here, those slopes, that's for 4 through 6. So everything on this is covered in these notes, okay? And then that is just the assignment. It's a little bit misnumbered, but you can see 1 through 6, and then 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9. That is your homework. Thanks. Have a good day.